So recently we did the unthinkable. We got in our car and drove across the state to go on a 40-hour cruise on a mega cruise ship, and maybe even more unthinkable, we chose a cruise line that many people dislike. We survived. We're back. We're back with information. What's our latest feelings about MSC Cruises, along with our review of the MSC Seashore. Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's going on?
My name's Tony.
And I'm Jenny.
And we are La Lido Loca. And just a few days ago, we returned from a 40-hour cruise, just 40 hours on a mega ship. We're talking about the MSC Seashore, and we wanted to come to you and give you a quick review. We're going to break it down in the big topics that we think about for cruise ship reviews. We're going to talk about the embarkation. We're going to talk about the muster drill. Talk about the cabin, the entertainment, the food, casinos, all the things that make cruising what it is. We're going to give you our take on it. Start with the embarkation process.
So the embarkation process was pretty normal. Of course, there's lines when you're, waiting to get on, but it was pretty well organized.
Check-in process was really quick. We were there probably less than a minute, and they checked us in, but getting up to the point where we got checked in, it was a little bit of a wait, but then we walked right onto the cruise ship. The whole process took about an hour. We got in line about 2 p.m. We were on the cruise ship by 3 p.m. And the challenge came a little bit after that because the muster drill was at 3:45. And while many cruise lines right now have a fairly streamlined muster process, the MSC muster process, while somewhat streamlined, still involves everybody going to the muster station at the same time. Jenny, what do you think about this muster process?
So I thought that the muster process, of course, you watch the video in the cabin, and then you have to call a certain number on the phone and let them know that you watched it. So everybody gets the same announcements over the system, but then you have to walk down the stairs to the muster drill.
The elevators are off limits. They don't necessarily tell you what to do if you have mobility issues.
Yeah, so after the muster drill is when that announcement came. Anybody who did not make it to the muster station or did have mobility issues and couldn't go down the stairs, they did have to meet in a different location. That announcement that came after the muster drill should have probably come before.
Now, I guess one benefit of the muster drill being the way that it was is we got to spend some time in the cabin straight away. What do you think about the cabin overall?
So I think the cabin overall was probably like an 8 out of 10. I think that the decor was nice, modern. The bed was hard. The balcony was fantastic. Of course, we did have the extended balcony, but the furniture out on the balcony was nice size, and the bathroom was small.
That bathroom was small. Another weird thing that I didn't really understand because we haven't been on MSC that much is when we went to bed the first night, there was no top sheet on the bed. It was just a duvet cover, and at the same time we went to wash our face before we went to bed. There were no washcloths, and apparently that's the way it is. It's a European vibe. That's what I've heard from several other cruisers. So if you're going on MSC and you need a sheet or you need washcloths, that's something that you want to ask your room steward at the beginning. All right, let's talk a little bit about food. What did you think of the main dining room experience?
So main dining room was a fail.
We didn't have a main dining room
We
experience.
did not.
It was a short cruise, so we got on Friday afternoon and we were off of it by Sunday morning. We had anytime dining, which means once the dining room was open at 5:30, you just went and got in the queue, got in line, and you go sit down in the main dining room. But we joined the queue probably at 5:45. We stood in line for 15 minutes, and when we got up to the front door of the main dining room, one of the crew members came out and said, "Look, we don't have any more seats. We're not going to have any more seats for like another 45 minutes. Come back in 45 minutes and then you can get seated for dinner." And so we left and we went and sat and waited. And then I went back in 45 minutes and there was still a huge line there and no prospect of dinner. And then I even went back toward the end of the main dining room experience and there was a huge line. We gave up on main dining room, and we knew we were going to have specialty dining on the next night that we were on the cruise, so that was our one and done opportunity. But it did take us up to the buffet. And now I know MSC has had some criticism about their buffet. What did you think about the buffet experience on the MSC Seashore?
I think that because we had to eat there. No, I think the food in the buffet was good. The pizza on MSC is always wonderful. I did have some seafood pasta, which was phenomenal. And of course, their chocolate croissants for breakfast were good.
Yeah, one of the early, like I said, criticisms of MSC is that they didn't have a lot of choice on their buffet. There were a lot of choices. I looked at the buffet, of course, at dinner. I looked at it at breakfast the next day. I also looked at it at lunch, and there was a lot to choose from. And all the food that I picked up off of the buffet was fresh and tasty and hot. And so I don't know if that's something specifically they have been working on in the face of that criticism, but I found the food to be really tasty and really quality from the buffet. I was happy with that experience.
Well, and I think a lot of it too on the buffet, it's a lot of like Italian based stuff. Pastas, of course, like the cheese and meats, those sort of things.
I tell you what was exciting is that there was green olives at every meal. There was green olives at breakfast. There was green olives at lunch. There was green olives at dinner.
Well, and at breakfast,
very Mediterranean.
Yeah, and at breakfast they had the bagels and lox that we like as well.
So no MDR, buffet was good. And then we tried their sushi restaurant, which was a little kind of a novelty restaurant. The interesting thing is they had two menus there. They had an a la carte menu, which had not only sushi rolls, but it also had other things like noodles and appetizers, those kind of things. But the big feature there was this conveyor belt of sushi, which you could pay an all-you-can-eat price for this conveyor belt of sushi, which looking at the prices, that seemed like the thing to do from an economics perspective, that we would get the most value. There was a little gotcha there. You did get your money's worth, but it didn't have the biggest selection for that, conveyor belt sushi.
Yeah, I think the variety, so sushi was fresh, but the variety of choice was not there.
Yeah, I think if we would have studied it a little more, like some of the rolls that were listed, some of the sushi rolls that were listed on the menu that sounded really good weren't included in the all you can eat. And they tell you, it's not like they're hiding it from you. They tell you what the all you can eat is, but the problem is you don't really get a good appreciation for that until you get into it. I feel like I got my fill of sushi, but I felt like I left going, I really would have liked to try that dragon roll, but if I wanted to try the dragon roll, I'd had to pay on top of the already all-you-can-eat price.
Right.
Oh, you also did, you had the noodles there, which I thought were good.
Very good.
And then they recommended the dessert to us, the tempura bananas, which I think it was an okay dessert. Did you like it? Not like it?
I didn't like it. No, I think I was expecting the banana to be sweet, and it just wasn't.
It wasn't super sweet.
Yeah.
Did have the ice cream and the chocolate sauce.
Well, that was wonderful.
That was pretty nice.
Yeah.
All right, so the food, not bad. Let's talk about entertainment. I did go to 2 shows in the main theater on this cruise. I went and saw on Friday night an Italian illusionist. Very good. Classical, big stage illusion. Not, they weren't throwing close-up magic in your face. You got some legit big prop illusion and well performed. I thought that was great. And then the next night I went to their rock and roll show. This was performed by the production players there, the production cast, singers, dancers. They performed rock and roll songs. I thought it was really good. And then I did do a couple laps around the ship to look at some of the nighttime entertainment. In the atrium, they had, a singer and piano player. There were dual pianos in a different part of the ship. There was lots of live music.
I did catch a few of the dancing and the singing in the atrium, and it was good.
It was just a short cruise, so we didn't get a comedian, but I feel like the entertainment that I did see was really solid. I guess also on the entertainment or activities side, during the Saturday that we were there, the one day that we were at port, we were at Ocean Cay, and there were activities still on the cruise ship. I snuck in and did a trivia. There was all kinds of stuff going on the cruise ship, so really impressed with the entertainment and the activities just in that short period on the seashore. All right, let's get to something important, shall we?
Yes.
Let's talk about the casino.
Oh, yes.
Jenny B, did you test the fates? I know you did. Tell us about testing the fates on the seashore.
So the Seashore Casino was really lovely. So it's a 2-floor now, and they just recently changed it. So the first level is non-smoking, but what was very nice in that first level, they have a huge casino bar. And then they also have a craps table now,
that
which
was
is
a big
exciting.
change. Big change.
Yeah, and then if you go upstairs, 1 floor up, in the sports bar, They added roughly maybe what, like 40 slot machines, I
A
would
lot of
think.
slot machines and that's non-smoking.
That's non-smoking. And then right in front of the sports bar is now a smoking box, I call it,
Yeah,
with probably maybe 20 slot machines. Very well ventilated. The only thing in there, the bar service was very slim. Like if you did have somebody come in to do a hand payout or something like that, we did have to ask for bar service.
yeah. I thought it was really interesting when I went to the sports bar and it was filled with slot machines.
Yeah.
Which I guess there's no reason that it shouldn't be. I do want to mention that venue. That sports bar was really kind of a cool place. There was a lot of TVs to watch, a lot of interesting seating. There was a NFL game that day. The Steelers were playing, and there was a whole group of people that were decked out in Steelers gear. This was a really nice place to gather on deck 8 on that ship. And then right across the hall from it is the Brooklyn Cafe, which is also another great place to, sit and meet and hang out with people. Nice coffee in that area, live jazz in the evening in that area. And then that kind of led out to one of the smoking decks. Smoking is sometimes pushed off to the side on cruise ships, kind of regulated to the nether regions. Smokers are not always treated as well as they should be for paying passengers. But one thing, MSC is very accommodating of people who smoke. Like we said, they have the smoking box for the casino. And then right outside on deck 8 from that Brooklyn Cafe, there is smoking. But there's also other really good spots for smokers on that cruise ship.
Yeah, also on deck 8 in the aft area, very close to the aft pool, is another location for the smokers as well.
All right, let's talk about service on this cruise ship. What did you think about the overall service from the crew members on this short cruise?
So it's unfortunate because, so it wasn't bad or good, right? I just feel like I didn't receive any, right? Or didn't have the need of it. I think any of the crew members that we did come in contact with were very kind, and very, like the person that brought us back to eat, they were there, but I don't think that they went out of their way to enhance your experience.
This is the thing that I've always noticed about MSC, and it's either going to hit people in a good way or a bad way. I feel like you get the service that you should get. Like your needs are met, but the service isn't like a kind of in your face, honey darling type service. And that could be because of the culture there, because it is a somewhat European brand, and that's the way service works in Europe. I'm personally okay with that.
I was fine with it.
I'm fine with that. I don't need a lot of, honey darling type stuff. We did have good service from the room steward. He cleaned our cabin twice, and he brought us the things that we needed. So it was great. Now, something that we've said often when it comes to cruising is there's 3 big pain points: embarkation, muster drill, and then disembarkation. Disembarkation's horrible. It's horrible because you got to get off the cruise. The cruise blues are waiting around the corner for you. And then sometimes the disembarkation is, just challenging, as it is. I'm going to say this before we get the lovely Jenny B's commentary. This wasn't the worst disembarkation we've ever had, but this wasn't the easiest disembarkation either. Jenny, what were your thoughts on disembarkation?
So I think it was very well organized, but I do think that they can do it a little better somehow, and I just don't know how.
Yeah, I think the big challenge for this cruise is because it was such a short cruise, you had a lot less suitcases in the hallway the night before.
Yeah.
I think a lot more people took advantage of the self-assist disembarkation. And so interestingly, that was set to start at 7:30 a.m. And we thought we would get a jump on the whole thing by going and finding a place to sit down at 6:30 a.m. And well, we weren't the only people with that idea. By the time that we got downstairs, there was already a huge line snaking through the back of the cruise ship to get off of the cruise ship. And so we had to kind of decide how long would we sit or how long would we stand in line. And we realized at some point that if we didn't get in the line, it would take us a long time to get off the cruise ship. much like embarkation, disembarkation took an hour to get off the cruise ship. There was a lot of standing in line, and but a lot of it was, you know, waiting until they opened the door. Once they started letting people off the cruise ship, it went pretty quick. Like Jenny said, it was well organized. They had the queue. Nobody was jumping line, which sometimes is a challenge. But yeah, if you wanted to get off the cruise ship early, you had to wait in line quite a bit.
I feel like they didn't let us off the ship, but they wanted you out of the cabin very early at 7
That was
o'clock.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah. They wanted people sitting in the public area so obviously that they could flip the ship.
Right.
But yeah, a little bit of a challenge there.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. Let's give some final thoughts. First, let's talk about the big thing in the room. We went on a 2-day cruise. We drove across the state of Florida and went cruising for 40 hours on the weekend. Was that crazy, or is that something you would do again?
I would absolutely do it again.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that I would do it again also. I was thinking about it in the context if we still worked Monday through Friday. Could you imagine like maybe getting off work a little early on Friday and still going and getting your cruising in and then still being back to work on Monday? If you live close enough to the cruise port, I 100% think that makes sense. This completely felt like cruising. We got to have the sail away. We got to go to a private island. We had the food. We had the gambling. We had the entertainment. And the price was really good. This is something that I would definitely do again. And then, of course, the question that we always come to is, would you recommend MSC, the Seashore, or MSC in general to people? Who is this cruise for?
I think it's for everybody. I think that MSC offers a really great product for the price. Just anybody that loves cruising.
I think it's worth trying, right? I definitely understand people that are loyal to their brand. I definitely understand people that are resistive to a new company coming in and trying to, move in a little bit on those more established companies. But MSC really is making a big effort to get people on their cruise ships. It's not going to be for everybody, certainly, but I think it should be for everybody to try at least once or maybe twice. It's a whole different experience than when we cruised on MSC back in 2019. And so if it's been a few years or something like that, maybe some of those complaints that you may have had or criticisms, some of those things certainly have changed. Here's the spoiler. We booked another MSC cruise. That's how much we enjoyed this one. So yeah, I would give it a thumbs up. I would recommend the MSC Seashore. And I would love to hear in the comments if maybe this is something that you have been on. If you like these kind of reviews, please subscribe to this channel. If you got value out of this one, please hit the like button. Thank you guys so much for checking out the show. My name's Tony.
And I'm Jenny.
And we are La Lido Loca. And until the next time,
we'll see you on the Lido.
We'll see you on the Lido.
Bye.
Bye.